Hi, everyone, and welcome to the second in our video series to get through the suck for the South Atlantic region of the National Association of Women in Construction. I am here today with Adrienne Greenwalt from Lean Life Health Coaching. Welcome, Adrienne.
Hello.
Can you give us a quick overview of you and your background and your business, Lean Life Health Coaching?
Sure. So Lean Life Health Coaching is just me. I am a certified health coach and a master's prepared nurse. I like to work with clients, just meet them where they are in their journey. There's no rules. There's nothing I'm selling besides myself and my services. And I'm just here to meet clients where they are, help coach them through this kind of wild world of wellness and help people figure out what their goals are and how to reach them.
So what would be the impetus for someone to reach out to you and hire you? Like, why do people come to Lean Life Health Coaching?
I think a lot of people have tried different things over the years, whether that's dieting or changing what they're eating, following strict rules, not following any rules, and seeing kind of their wellness fluctuate and kind of be sort of frustrated with that cycle. And I think people come to find a health coach because they want to sort of break free of all that, kind of separate all the noise from the truth, and just sort of get out of the cycle. Let yourself figure out what will work for you, how can you do it, and move forward with kind of being a healthier version of yourself.
So we're not talking about any juice cleanses or counting calories or any macro trackers or anything like that.
No. I'm really anti all of that stuff. I think that stuff sounds good and it sells because I think that we are kind of culturally prone to thinking that if we're counting it or we're following it religiously, that somehow that will bring us to whatever it is that we want. And usually that goal is weight loss, which is not a good indicator of health in the first place, but also is very rarely sustainable. And whatever you do to try to like lose the weight or beat the bloat or whatever it may be, it's very rarely sustainable. And so ultimately it doesn't work. So I'm only going to work with clients on stuff that you can actually see yourself doing for the rest of your life. And it's not supposed to be simple, it's not supposed to be easy. It might sound simple because the rules really aren't that complicated, but they're very different from rules that many of us have been following for most of our lives, especially women. So I think that sometimes it can sound too simplistic, like, well, shouldn't I be taking this pill or drinking this celery juice? Or, there's so many things I can't even keep track of all of them anymore. But I really am very evidence-based. I'm really following the science. And I think too, as a nurse, I'm aware of the damage that we cause in our younger adult lives and what it does to us in our older adult lives. And, after caring for so many people that were so sick with sort of the very common illnesses of what we almost just think of as illnesses of old age, things like heart disease and diabetes that really are diseases caused by what we do in our younger age. And so, I'm really wanting to meet people before all of that really sets in, or if it has started to set in, how to pull yourself out of it. So that's kind of what I like to do with clients.
What age group do you focus on? So you mentioned like meeting people before the disease. Do you meet them when they're children?
I do coach. I coach families and children. I also coach adults, young adults, and I coach, seniors, older adults and seniors as well. So there's never a bad time to start caring about your health or to start focusing on your health more. But, obviously, I think especially as women, we're usually the decision makers in terms of what our families are eating, what we're doing, what activities we're involved in. And so, if the woman in the family is making really good choices about her family's health and her health, it definitely has a wide effect. But I do work with men too, so it doesn't just have to be women.
So we reached out to some of our members to get some questions for you. Based on the industry that we're in, so many of our members end up on job sites or they're traveling around in a car. They either have limited access or no access to refrigeration. So we wanted to get some questions from them about what they were really thinking about. So I have about 5 questions for you.
Okay.
The first one is, what are your thoughts on food sensitivity tests? This member said, some foods make my stomach hurt and some make my stomach feel bloated.
Okay, so kind of 2 separate questions, but first with the food sensitivity tests, I know those are all over the internet and they're advertised all the time by, wellness influencers, but also by the companies themselves. And actually, to date, there is no FDA approved there's no FDA approved food sensitivity test that is actually evidence based. So there are a few that are approved for use, meaning like they're safe to swipe this on your tongue and send it in, but they are not actually shown. The things that they test for aren't actually proven to be signs of food sensitivity, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And the biggest problem with them that I have is that they make people eliminate healthy foods that are part of a well-rounded diet. So things like whole grains or certain leafy greens, other high protein foods like lentils and stuff often come up, but they're really not based on evidence right now. And so I think a lot of people are reaching for them because a lot of people do have reactions to food. So that's not to say that you're not feeling a certain way, or or that you're not noticing sensitivity, because that would make a lot of sense. Now, people are genetically inclined to have sensitivities. That's most likely things like lactose that we find, like the sugar that's in milk products. Also, there's cruciferous vegetables, things like Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower. Those are gas forming foods. So if you feel bloated after eating those foods, it's actually just because you ate that food. It's not actually a sensitivity, but you might really not like how that makes you feel, or you might have a more strong reaction to it, in which case, you can try cooking the food for longer or having smaller portions, because those are actually really healthy foods. And the other thing that I wanted to say is that if you're eating a lot of packaged food, it's hard to know what in the food is actually making you feel uncomfortable or make your stomach hurt. So the less ingredients that something has, or the less packaged food you can eat, the better. And also, if you can really keep track of what you're eating, like if you feel like, I think it's when I reach for like these 2 things, I tend to have these symptoms. If you can really keep track, then that's a helpful way to figure out if it's a lot of things that you seem to be having these symptoms, or if it's just 1 or 2 things. And if it's a lot of things, it might not actually be the food that you're eating. It might be more, you might be having reactions to things like stress or caffeine, or sugar-free gum if you chew a lot of gum. Actually, even just gum chewing in general, because you tend to swallow a lot of air. But the artificial sweeteners that are in sugar-free gum, diet soda, that stuff actually does cause GI distress. So that would be, something that if you felt like it was happening all the time, it might not actually be food. It might be something else that you're consuming.
Awesome. And then, would you recommend like an elimination diet type of exploration?
So I think doing that on your own is a little bit of a challenge. And these things that have been, well advertised, like Whole30, or where you kind of like eliminate everything and then you start adding things back, unless you're being like so strict with what you're eating, which has other implications in terms of like disordered eating. It can be hard to actually truly eliminate something that you think you might be sensitive to. So for instance, someone in my family has celiac disease, and it is like, it took us years and years and years to learn how to actually eliminate products that might contain wheat, or might be contaminated with wheat, or might be used in the same fields when they rotate crops with wheat. So I would just advise, if you really want to do something like that, work with a medical professional, and kind of take it slow, but remember that when you're eliminating a lot of foods, you're usually eliminating a lot of healthy foods too. So the big four that I recommend always avoiding, except in like special occasions or whatever, are artificial flavorings and artificial sweeteners, preservatives, high fructose corn syrup, and that's can be listed as all different kinds of things, and also other artificial colorings. I don't know if I said that. Flavorings, colorings, and artificial sweeteners, along with high fructose corn syrup and preservatives. And there's like a million different ingredients that fall under those four. I know it's really hard, but that's another thing I like to work with people on, is learning how to read labels and stuff. So, you can work with a health coach in that instance as well.
Awesome. Okay.
Sorry, that was a really long answer.
That's good. All right. When restaurants are your only option, as I mentioned, many of us work on a job site or travel for work and are staying at a place with little to no amenities. And a lot of our members are also working on site from sun up to sundown. How do you eat healthy at a restaurant?
Right. I really liked this because it was kind of a challenge for me to think about, like, I used to work 12-hour shifts as a nurse, but I would always have access to a fridge and, sometimes a microwave, but, the hospital cafeteria, which is like meh. But if you're literally on a job site or in a car or staying in a motel or whatever, it definitely is a challenge. And so first of all, recognize that just wanting to do something good for yourself is like a really great first step, and it is a challenge. So I applaud you all. But the other thing that I think you really have to do, you almost have to pack like you're going camping. And it's like, I know you're already worried about all the other stuff you have to bring for work and your clothing and blah, blah. But if you're not well nourished, you're really not doing your best in anything. So you have to get one of those big, ugly lunch boxes that like has the big zipper around the top, and pack food for the entire day. And, there's things that you can bring that don't need to be refrigerated also. There's lots of choices, but things like simple things, shelf-stable fruit, pears, bananas, oranges, kiwis, those things you can keep all week in your car, except unless it's really hot, your bananas might get a little brown. And then you can make homemade trail mix. Like you can bring a really big bag of homemade trail mix and kind of eat off of it all week. Things like dry roasted nuts that don't have a lot of added oil. Try not to get stuff that's heavily salted. You can always salt your trail mix yourself. You can put like unsweetened coconut flakes in there. Some freeze dried fruit is usually better for your teeth than just regular dried fruit, but like throw some raisins in there, some dark chocolate chips, something to make it taste good. And then, if you're hungry, you're reaching for something in there that has, proteins and healthy fats and even a little bit of fiber. And instead of a bag of potato chips, which isn't going to really do anything for you except for, provide you with like a little bit of salt. The other thing is there are good brands that you can buy, so you don't have to do prep of like granola bars and those kinds of things, but just be cautious when you're looking at the label. Again, those big four: artificial sweeteners, flavors and colorings, and then preservatives, and then high fructose corn syrup. And try to pick granola bars or energy bars that have less than 7 grams of added sugar is usually a good, and check, usually it says how many servings per bar. You'd think one bar would be 1 serving, but a lot of times it's 2, and they do that so that it like looks like less, calories or sugar or whatever. So yeah, that was my recommendation. Also, I was going to say, you can make oatmeal. You can make overnight oats. Like you don't even have to cook oatmeal. You can just put oatmeal in a jar with some either milk or plant-based milk, a little bit of yogurt, whatever you like, a little bit of maple syrup, some cinnamon. You can put some honey, like whatever you think would make it taste better in there. And you don't have to cook it. You can just keep it cold and eat it with a spoon, the next day, or it even keeps for several days. So that can be a quick breakfast that doesn't require any cooking or, anything like that. And they make like packets of nut butter. Like you can get packets of almond butter, peanut butter that come in like little individual squeeze packets. I mean, if you're super desperate, you can just like squeeze it into your mouth. I have done that in the car, but you can squeeze it on fruit. If you had a loaf of bread, like whole wheat bread, you could make yourself a sandwich, and that's going to be better than just about anything that you can get fast food or whatever. So, and then I did like this challenge. So this is where the videos that I'll show you later, I did make the meals that you can bring on the job site with you and have them for several days. So later I'll show you how to cook that stuff.
Awesome. So ultimately, bringing your own food is certainly the best
It
decision.
is. Yes. And I know you just said how to eat healthy at a restaurant. Sorry. Yes, sometimes of course you have to go to a restaurant, and like, that's fine. And remember that like, if it's once in a while, it's really not that big of a deal. It's when you're doing it all the time, every week, or several restaurant meals in 1 week. So you have to, learn how to read the menu. Stuff that says like crispy or like zesty or whatever usually means like it's fried or it's battered and fried, and like stuff like that is just best to avoid. You can always ask them to just cook you. Like, I'm personally a vegetarian, and a lot of times there's actually nothing on the menu, but they'll always make me something. So you can always just ask. You can just be that person that's like a little bit annoying and just ask for, can I just like have some roasted vegetables and like some, whatever the protein that it is that you like. Is it, chicken or the fish that they have or the steak or whatever, and can I have that on a plate with like some rice, and that right there, it's a great meal. It's fine. It'll taste good. And just, try to err on the side of your own food and then supplement with that kind of stuff, as opposed to the other way around.
And I know when I used to work at pretty much a rest stop, before they started to get like more variety of businesses, it was like McDonald's and Wendy's and Chick-fil-A. So if I forgot my food, then, or I didn't have time to go to like the one sit down restaurant, then it was like, make sure you get the grilled chicken or a salad and the fruit cup instead of the fries. Like, there are options at these restaurants, even if it's not the ideal place for you to go eat. And like you said, just don't do it every day.
Right, exactly. And I know when I travel, instead of going to the fast food place or like the little, like fast casual type of restaurants, where we often go to the grocery store, or even now, like the Dollar General or whatever, like even those places have like food, that is going to be a better choice than what you can get that's already cooked at a fast food place. So, because you can buy like salad mix, and you can buy stuff to make like healthy sandwiches, that kind of stuff.
That's a good idea. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, I know. I'm always the weird one who's like 8:30. I'm like walking through this like grocery store that I've never been to before. And go to the frozen section. I mean, they have like Amy's frozen burritos. You get a little microwave in your hotel room, and like, there you go. It's like a fairly good meal, and it's hot, and you didn't have to cook anything. But
absolutely, and you probably save money at the grocery store.
Yes, oh, for sure, no doubt, yeah.
So the next question is, tell us more about probiotics. Like, our capsules, are they any good? Is it a waste of money? Are there certain brands?
So just in general, I don't recommend any specific brand, because I don't get paid to do that. But yes, probiotics are well studied, and they have certain uses that they are studied to help with. So those things are like chronic yeast infections, constipation, diarrhea. Those are really the big three. Now, they can help with other things like bloating or, just kind of irregularity within your GI tract. And if you take antibiotics, or if you have taken antibiotics for any other reason, probiotics are a really good thing to take. If you can take them before you have to take antibiotics, or start as soon as and then take them for several weeks after. I do personally take a daily probiotic. And in terms of how it helps with like our immune system defense, sort of the science is still a little bit wavy, if you will, but we do know that a lot of our immune system actually resides in our gut. That is true. And so when you think about kind of like mounting a good response against even before COVID, but just like the winter colds and all the stuff your kids bring home from school. And now also, fighting these worse bacteria or these worse viruses that we have floating around. Having a healthy gut is a really good way to really protect yourself. So I am not saying that you can, not get coronavirus by taking probiotics, because I know that there are people out there who are saying that. But I just always feel like a good defense is the best offense. So why not kind of prep your system? So one brand, so the probiotic that is in Culturelle, which like is kind of maybe the most well-known, that is the most well-studied probiotic out there, that type, that strain. But there are other probiotics that also have that strain in it, and also have other strains that are a little bit more focused on like women's health in terms of like vaginal health, UTI tract, that kind of yeast infections, that kind of thing. But that's a good one to start with. Always check with your provider before you start anything, because some people shouldn't take probiotics for various reasons if they have suppressed immune systems. But I generally think it's a good thing to add. It depends on the person, but just like anything, it's not going to just solve all your problems just by taking, Culturelle or whatever. So
speaking of solving all of our problems, are there supplements out there that you can take to help with stress, which is what we're all feeling right now?
So if there were, those people would be quadrillionaires. And unfortunately, no. I hate that the answer is no. And it's so tempting to want something like that, like a supplement that will help ease your stress. You guys are all stressed and other people are stressed because you're living a stressful life. So first of all, just acknowledging that like you're feeling stressed out because you are under a lot of stress and pressure. So kind of just the self-awareness is sort of the first step. And the other thing is that there are really well-studied things that you can do to help reduce your stress. The thing is, they're not as easy as taking a pill. So it's like, and it sounds it almost sounds too simple. So one of them is time outdoors. And that sounds like, yeah, right, or whatever. But like, that's actually well documented that like exposure to fresh air and sunlight is actually a really good thing that you can do for your body's stress response. So if you spent 5 or 10 minutes more outside every single day for 2 weeks, I promise you would start to feel a difference. Now, don't go outside when it's like storming and raining and you like feel awful. But if you can try to increase your time outdoors, that is one thing that sounds really simple, but it really does help. The other thing is reducing caffeine, which I love caffeine, but like I love coffee, but that is a stimulant. So like it will increase your stress and anxiety just in terms of what it does inside your body. That's what it does. So like if you're feeling really stressed out and anxious, try to have less caffeine in your diet. And another thing is that physical exercise doesn't have to be, you don't have to sweat. It doesn't have to be like formal exercise, but physical exercise and more sleep or better quality sleep are two things that also can help reduce stress. And stress is legit in terms of causing damage to our health, as much as we don't want to hear that. It's like one of those things, like I remember when I was sleep deprived with newborn babies, and it's like not getting enough sleep is as bad as smoking a pack of cigarettes. And I remember being like, well, great. Cause like, what are you supposed to do? So I get it. I get that feeling of like, stress is going to kill me, but I can't do anything. I'm stressed out. This is my life. So again, the self-awareness, but also things like deep breathing. Like if you followed a regimen, instead of waking up and taking a pill every morning, if you woke up and did 5 minutes, just 5 minutes, or even start with 2 minutes and then try and bump it up to 5 of like in the dark, deep breathing exercises every single day. And then, maybe see if you can do it again later in the day. Those things are actually scientifically proven to help reduce stress. So it sounds a little bit too like simple or something, but they are shown to have benefits.
So a lot of the things that you mentioned are like habit based.
Yeah.
So one of our members had the question, is there a secret to getting out of bed early and working out? Any suggestions on how to make the morning workout work when you don't have time to get your brain up and functioning beforehand? Like how to make that sleep to workout transition happen quickly?
So one, there's no secret because everybody's different. So you just have to figure out what the secret is for you for getting up early. And the first thing I want to say is if you're not getting enough sleep, sleep has to be a priority. So if you're only getting 5 hours of sleep, you should not start to get 4 so that you can get up and exercise. Just let's start off with that right there. And then the other thing I want to say is losing 30 minutes of sleep if you're getting about a good amount for yourself. Usually 30 minutes is okay to cut out of your, sleep diet without having an ill effect. But if you are getting 7 hours and you're going to start getting 6, 5 days a week because you're getting less sleep, you might need to balance that and only do that, a couple days. So let's just say that. The other thing I was going to say is if you're already exercising and you already have, like, if you already kind of have an exercise regimen and there's an exercise that you really like or that comes easy to you, that's the one to do first thing in the morning. So for me, like, I like to run and I ride the Peloton when I can like force myself to do it. And because I don't like exercising indoors that much. And I also weight train when I, again, like need to tell myself to do it because I know it's important. In the morning when I get up and it's still dark and I exercise, the only thing I like to do is run because I can do it mindlessly. Now that's not the same for everyone. For someone else, they would be like, ugh, I have to force myself to do that. I don't want to do that.
I hate running.
Yeah. So like if there's an exercise you really like, now also going for a walk counts. You can go walk out in your neighborhood, be safe, be careful, of course, wear lights. I look like I wear this huge lighted vest. So remember that exercising in the dark outdoors is different. But if it's yoga and you do it on the floor of your bedroom so that it's silent and you don't wake anybody up in the house, then do that. For me, that's too sleepy. Like I need to kind of be moving, but everybody is different. So find the exercise that you really like and do that one first thing in the morning. The other thing I think that a lot of us, you probably already know, but I think music is really helpful in, like, even if it's pitch black in your house and everyone's asleep and you have like your favorite jams like going, you're gonna feel like it's gonna be hard to like feel sleepy, like, if you're like getting pumped. So don't discount, a good pair of headphones. And also I think too, it's a transition. So if you've never exercised in the morning or like been a morning person, it's not going to happen overnight. So don't have that expectation of yourself and don't give up after a week if it's hard. Habits, they take 30 days to form a habit. I don't know if that's, who did they base that on? I have no idea, but just, it might take 30 days. It might take a year to form a habit, but write down your intention. Why do you want to work out in the morning? Is it because you know you need more exercise? Is it because it helps you transition to your workday? Is it because it's your me time in the morning? Whatever it is that the reason you want to add it, write it down, look at your intention, and, give yourself a little bit of grace. If you sleep in a few times, that's okay. Just keep trying. And if you're dreading it every single time, then you maybe need to like re-examine your motivations and, why are you doing this and who is it for, that kind of thing.
Sure. I know I've been thinking I need to get back to my morning workout. So now I'm going to write down my intention now. That'll help.
There you go.
Okay, so that was the end of our questions, and you have some recipes that you're sharing with us. So for all of you watching this video, you should have received the recipes in your email. And if you can't find them, just email the South Atlantic region and we'll make sure that you get them. Can you give us a quick introduction to the recipes that you shared with us?
Yes. So again, I really like this challenge. So thank you for presenting me with it. But I did, or you can cook once, kind of over the weekend or whenever it is that is a good time for you to cook, and doesn't take that long. I give you lots of shortcuts like using frozen vegetables so you don't have to do too much chopping, that kind of stuff. You're going to cook once, and you're going to end with several meals that you can pack in a cooler or keep in the mini fridge in your hotel room, whatever. And you can have it room temperature for several hours before you eat. So I made a peanut chickpea pasta. So that's like a hearty pasta with a peanut sauce and lots of veggies and some protein in that you can store all together and then kind of shake up before you eat. And then I also did sort of like a Tex-Mex flavor spiced quinoa salad that has veggies and protein as well. You can cook it all at the same time, use the same veggies for both. So like it was supposed to be as easy as possible. And these are kind of like, they're strongly flavored. I mean, it's not like really spicy or anything, but just because you really want the flavor to last and still taste good after a few days. So the whole point is that after, on day 3, these aren't going to be like kind of limp and, like soggy and doesn't taste good anymore. So that's what I made for sort of like real meals, like lunches and dinners. And then I also made some carrot date muffins so that you can get some veggies in a really good snack. And they're really kid friendly. My kids love them. My husband likes them so much that he started making them now. I don't have to make them anymore.
Nice.
He makes them every weekend. He usually makes a double batch and they're like gone, but they pack really well. They're not like super cakey, like maybe like a traditional like bake shop muffin. They're a little bit more hearty, but that's the point, is that they're supposed to really last. They're good cold, hot, room temp, however you like to eat them. And, they're a little bit more filling and stuff than a regular muffin. So that's what I made, but I have tons of other recipe ideas. I had to kind of narrow it down. So anybody can email me if they, want questions. Or the other thing I was going to say, if the flavor profiles of the meals that I made, if those don't appeal, I have so many more ideas that I was restrained from typing because I wanted to keep it simple, but just email me because there's other ways that you can mix it up.
So speaking of that, I mean, you're based in Georgia, but you do online and virtual coaching as well, right?
Yes.
So where can people find you?
So my website is www.leanlifehealthcoaching.com. And I'm Lean, Lean. That's Lean Life Health Coaching at Instagram and on Facebook too, Lean Life Health Coaching. Awesome. So yeah, definitely, drop me a line or whatever. I like to help people with just little things, big things, whatever it is. That's what I like to do.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Thank you, sis.
All right. Let's check out these videos.
Hi everyone, this is Adrienne from Lean Life Health Coaching, and today I'm going to show you how you can cook once and eat healthfully all week, whether you're on the road, on the go, or staying in a hotel room. So we're going to make a spiced quinoa salad and also a peanut chickpea pasta. And just a note ahead of time for the pasta, I definitely recommend a chickpea pasta because it's nice and hearty and it will last several days without getting soggy. You can also try a brown rice pasta or a whole wheat pasta as an alternative. So to start, you're going to boil 2 pots of water, one to cook the pasta and one to cook the quinoa. Once they're done, just fully drain them, set them aside, and let them cool. Next, you're going to do the veggies. So you can use frozen vegetables or a combination of fresh and frozen. Use whatever vegetables you like. Just make sure that they're kind of hearty and will stand up to several days being in the fridge. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to mix up your spices and spice the quinoa, and you're going to shake up a jar of your peanut sauce to use once we assemble everything. So once you've done that, you're going to line your jars up and you're going to put peanut sauce in the bottom of half, and you're going to put black beans in the bottom of the other half. Then you're going to put the quinoa on top of the black beans, and you're going to put the pasta on top of the peanut sauce. And make sure to really be generous with the sauce because that's what helps keep this tasting good for several days. And don't be shy about the veggies either. Really cram as many as you can into that jar because usually when we're on the road, fresh vegetables is the thing that's really hardest to have access to. Use vegetables that will really hold up. Things like bell peppers, sugar snap peas, broccoli, kale, edamame. Those are all really good choices because they tend not to get soggy. So what you can do next is you can put a lime slice on top of each of the jars. Both of these meals are good with a little fresh lime squeezed on top. And for the pasta, don't forget to put your white beans as some protein. So once you're done, you can seal them up, keep them cold until you're ready to eat. If you need to take them out of the fridge in the morning and have them at room temp for several hours before lunch, for instance, that would be fine. Just be aware if you're going to use a different protein besides beans that you want to be really cautious about food safety. Something like chicken, can be dangerous if it sits at room temp for too long before eating. So I hope that these are helpful ideas and that you can try them out. Let me know how it goes. Enjoy. Up next, we're going to be making my carrot date muffins. These are real simple and they have lots of wholesome ingredients, a little bit better for you than a traditional muffin. My husband, the hand model, is going to help me make these. So you basically just combine everything in a blender or a food processor. And if you don't have a food processor, that's fine. You can shred the carrots first on a box grater and then just make everything in the blender. So either way, you're just going to blend up everything except for the dates. And make sure to buy medjool dates if you can find them at the store, or you can buy them on Amazon. They're really the plumpest and the sweetest of all the dates. So once you've combined all your ingredients, give everything a really good mix, scrape down the sides if you're using a blender, and then you just drop your dates in one at a time. You don't have to chop them first. That way they just combine really well into the recipe. These bake up real quick in the oven. I prefer silicone muffin trays if you have them. And store these in the fridge. You can have them at room temp if you need. And for long-term storage, these freeze really well as well. So I hope you enjoy as much as we do.